Hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to take a look at the conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune for the water signs. The exact conjunction is upon us as we speak. I'm filming this on April 10th and it will be with us until about the 22nd of April. And I hope that it's bringing you good things and good energy. So I thought that I would do a very special reading for you guys today, and I'm combining all of the individual sign readings into their element, because if I were to break it apart into 12 videos, then unfortunately we would not be able to get it all published in time. So we're just going to go by the element. So today we're doing water, and we're going to do Cancer, then Pisces, and last Scorpio. And we're going to talk about how the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction will have an effect upon you. I'm not going to talk about the details of this conjunction so much in this video. I'm still trying to squeeze in a technical video. So if you guys are looking for an in-depth analysis of the astrology, we'll do that separate. Today we're going to focus on the tarot. I also have the angel cards, I have the dice, and I have the Braille. So I thought I would use those cards for you guys to see this energy. Just as an introduction for all three signs, I would say overall that at this time, this energy is a massive shift of the cycle. However, unlike the energies of Saturn or Mars or Pluto that we've been under for the last several months or even years, it's much more soft and much more subtle, and yet so powerful. So some of the effects of this transit may not be so explicit or immediate for you, but when you look back at this time, this will be a momentous time in your life in which a lot of things change. So some of you might be feeling like you want to sit quietly and relax. Some of you might be observing the world around you, and little shifts might be happening within you, and your perspective might be changing on things. So it's a really powerful moment in time, and I really want to share it with you guys. The spread that I'm going to do is a horoscope spread, so 12 houses. And so I want to take a look at how each house of the zodiac, I'll show you guys in the chart, will be affected by this transit. So it's a really in-depth reading. It's not like an all-sign format. And I just thought it would be very interesting to poke around at all the signs, and hopefully this will be my full return to YouTube without interruptions and so forth. It's been very busy, and with Neptune, I think that this energy is sort of, well, fuzzy or hazy or, just very kind of its own character. So let's get into the flow with water, and let's begin with the sign of Cancer. So let's just first do a little bit of an astrology intro, because it's nice that we start with Cancer. The reason I did water sign Cancer is I cut the deck, which I always do things by order like this, just random order. And I said the element of the card that I pull will be the element that I do first. And so you came up first, and so therefore the element goes first, and so do you. So I'm excited to do this with you guys. But now looking at your chart, the conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune is actually happening right at the top of your chart, which is very special. There's a line here called the MC line. And so this is, when we talk about the North Node, you guys might be hearing a lot about the North Node and South Node, which are kind of spiritual destination points. Well, the MC represents a much more practical version of that, in which where you're physically going in life and how your life is physically manifest. And so therefore, the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, once in a lifetime transit, is happening alongside this line, and it's only happening alongside this line for you, whether you're a sun, moon, or rising Cancer sign. And so therefore, maybe for you, this might be one of the most explicit and dramatic points for this conjunction to happen out of any sign. And so therefore, you might be seeing in your life a huge transformation in your life. And like I said in the introduction, it might be more subtle, it might be more implicit, it might not be so literal, or it might be more figurative, right? Just a subtlety about it. And so it's important to be paying attention and watching these shifts happen at this time. And so for you, this is happening between the 9th and the 10th house. The 9th house has a lot to do with your ideas. You may be experiencing an expansion of your mind and an expansion of your consciousness at this time, Cancer. And then furthermore, there may be an effect with regard to your outside world, where you spend your time every day, career, the people you know, just your environment. So this growth, it's very, very big, and it's very, very positive. And I hesitate to say that because, as some people have pointed out, there could be some malefic aspects alongside of it, but both Jupiter and Neptune are the rulers of Pisces. And so when they join together in the 9th house, it's very special. So it's happening here. Now, it's important to mention at this time also that there are certain transits around that have been quite hairy, scary, and kind of intense. And so one of these aspects is Saturn applying to square the nodes, which will happen, I believe, next week sometime, or 2 weeks from now. It's pretty close. And technically these aspects with these big planets are already happening. It's just these exact points are showing up very soon. And so there may be other transits that might be providing for us a degree of feeling frazzled or disheveled or having some kind of tense energy. But underneath that all, there's this, it's almost like a chapter turning in a book and a new beginning opening up for us. And so for you, Cancer, it has to do with the mind, expansion of consciousness, exposure to new ideas. It's very important not to hold back. So this reminds me almost of The Dark Crystal. I don't know if you guys know that movie. So The Dark Crystal with I want to say Billy Idol, but it's not, David Bowie, and this actress, and Phoebe Gates, is that her name? It's an old movie from the 80s, and so she's kind of drawn into this land of the Dark Crystal, right? And the way she's just taken forward and being brought forward, this kind of energy is kind of guiding you in this direction, so opening new doors up for you. While at the same time, there is that stress energy from Saturn squaring the nodes and some other minor stress aspects. Just yesterday, we had the moon in Leo in opposition to Saturn, so it was a big grand cross. So many of you might be felt tense in the last 24 hours from the time of filming. But there is an underlying current of being guided somewhere. And so that's, I think, the first energy that I just want to kind of acknowledge. So maybe it's a good idea to get centered, and maybe for the other signs, I'll do the Braille Tele at first before we begin anything else. But maybe let's pick some cards to see what kind of energy is with this. I want to stress to you that this is a massive cycle beginning. And so it's more subtle, it's more, and yet so powerful. It's a gentle touch sort of energy. So what's beginning for Cancer? We have writing. Oh, I pulled 2 cards. There's no coincidences. We have friendship, writing, powerful communication. And because this is in a once in a lifetime transit, Cancer, the fact that it's happening right now, it's literally going to be the rest of your life that we're talking about. So if you're wondering about the timeline of this. This video can stay on my channel forever because we're talking about patterns and we're going to go super slow today. So just pay attention. I'm figuring this out as we go along because I'm just trying to feel through the energy. So if it's a little bit less cohesive for the first video, until I find my flow in it, then we'll just kind of figure it out. So there's definitely a huge importance of writing with friends, writing and communication between friends, from friends, to friends, at all these different levels. Opening up your heart and sharing your heart to other people, telling them what's in your mind. Maybe important communications have been happening already. Let's pick some more cards. We have movement. And since we pulled 2 cards by mistake, let's do 3 sets of 2. I like that. Difficult. So it's time to apply pressure into spaces of movement. Let me explain what I mean by that. So basically, there have been certain movements, your gestures, the physical movement of your body, right? The MC has been stopped by inactivity, inertia. And this may be inertia internally or something in the world. Or maybe there have been difficulties in your way cancer to get what you want. But really think of it as through the body, the physical body. So not so much about, physically being able to move. And I guess there's an emotional component to this, but what I'm thinking about is that certain physical movements, going in certain directions, making certain choices, have been held back because there's been inertia or static or what have you. And one of your key energies here that I'm seeing is this initiation of movement by changing and by applying pressure. So just like a stretch, at first you can't stretch very well, but if you keep stretching, if you keep pushing at it, then slowly and surely there's a movement that evolves and there's a movement that pushes forward. And so that difficulty, apply the pressure to places of resistance so that you can move forward. Then we have the awakening. Okay, this is a beautiful card that corresponds to the tarot. It represents the last judgment. So a big decision. The ruler is Pluto, which is in your 7th house. And then we have number 24, divine protection. You're confronting some major things. So find allies through communication. Apply pressure to places of static and lack of movement. And there's an awakening or a confrontation against things that are difficult or things that you're wary of even. But here you said that there is protection at your side. So whatever it is that you want to change or transform or whatever it is that is motivating you to, confront. It's the elephant in the room that you're wary of confronting. It's saying that there is divine protection around you to help you along. So let's pick some angel cards just to see what kind of messages. I'll pick 3, one for each pair. We have efficiency first. Efficiency. So find modes of communication even in situations that it feels as though some of your friendships and some of your allies are not necessarily easily accessible at this time. Maybe they're far away, and so don't allow that distance to become in any way a hindrance to your friendship. Choose the people who are close to you in your heart. It's the efficiency of choosing friendship and communicating in an appropriate way. And then we have an openness, right? So movement, difficulty, and find openness in spaces in which you feel restriction. So I hope that you guys may understand what I'm referring to here. This feels like exactly like a stretch because you have not challenged a physical space or a position for such a long time, there's restriction there. And so with the openness, apply pressure to that situation, the place you're not moving, the physical space you're not moving into, but your soul wants to move to. Find openness in that space so you can move freely into it, okay? Then we have awakening and divine protection. And so we have courage, awakening. So it's definitely felt like an energy of you against Pluto, you against the 7th house. Here, Cancer, I'll show you. For those of you who don't know astrology, there's Pluto in the 7th house about to leave. And so you're confronting the monster under the bed. And it doesn't have to be graphic or scary or terrible. But this confrontation is your courage to confront the thing that's not comfortable. So these are 3 energies that are coming with this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. The openness, Neptune giving you openness in places of restriction, expansion. Jupiter giving you courage and divine protection in making hard decisions or the courage to stand up to things that are intimidating at times. And then openness in your friendship and connection with people. Communicating with them from your heart, specifically through writing. Hearing important things through writing. So you will see these themes. You can write the 3 themes down and they will come up in your life from here on in. So these hopefully will be 3 major themes in your life moving forward. Okay, so maybe this is a little bit ambitious because we're already at 17 minutes, but I promised you guys a big reading, so here we go. We're going to pick 3 cards for every single house in relation to this, and then I'll pick an angel card to give inspiration for each one as well. Okay, so first let's start with the first house. So for you, this is happening at a beautiful trine to this area here. So it's a lot of expansion through the mind and changing the personality. Let's see what kind of theme comes up about your personality. So we have the Judgment again. And then we have the 4 of Cups. And then we have the 5 of Pentacles. So Cancer, I feel as though there's an aspect here of reaching out to people, reaching out to others, specifically through philanthropic and positive kindness, giving help, helping people, giving aid. The Judgment is your decision to do that, your decision to open and be kind and be generous. So there's this energy here. But maybe you will also learn lessons from receiving help from others, specifically people who have strong Scorpio or Pluto placements. That's why I said Scorpio, because the Judgment card is here. So there may be people who have a rising sign Scorpio, Scorpio sun, or Scorpio moon. They may become very important in your life to teach you lessons about giving and solidarity and coming together with others. Here's an angel card, compassion. What a beautiful connection here in the first house. So in the first house is our personality. And so Cancer, moving forward, there's going to be such an emphasis on your personality in relation to others, in this openness with regard to your mind. Now let's talk about your second house. So the second house has to do with money, and we have the 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. And then we have the 2 of Cups. This is the friendship energy. And then we have the 9 of Pentacles, Cancer. Okay, so I feel as though there's a friendship is a part of your financial circumstances. So we're talking about this house right here in relation to this. There's big things that you have to wait on. Invest your money well, invest your money slowly. The 7 of Pentacles. Don't use your money at this time directly. Don't use your money quickly after receiving it. Because if you save your money and if you're cautious around the people that you connect with, Cancer, there is financial success for you out of such actions. Let's take a look at an angel card. If you guys can't, maybe I can pull them here so you guys can see me pulling them. So we have freedom, financial freedom coming to you if you avoid. What I get from this Two of Cups for you, Cancer, is that it's very important for you to avoid overindulging in friendships or giving people too much of yourself with regard to money. So be cautious, like allow the friends to be a social lubricant for you to keep social connections alive in your life. But then also at the same time, I think that there's a level of restraint here with the Seven of Pentacles. So make sure that you have restraint, that you don't overindulge in friendships around money, that you're not silly with money. Of course, Saturn is here in your 8th house, which is always reminding you, be careful with where the money flows. So make sure who you're aligning with financially. So keep your friends, but also be mindful of people and boundaries. Now let's talk about the 3rd house for Cancer for this conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune. Okay. I think we don't need a deep dive into this transit because once we do the 12 signs, I feel it. I think everybody's going to get a comprehensive answer. If you guys are really interested in the astrology, maybe I'll put some things on Twitter, or if you guys really want it, then maybe. Okay, so we have 3rd house, Queen of Cups. That's very, very close family energy, sisters, brothers, but just very, very open-hearted to family members. Knight of Cups. Those of you who have siblings, very interesting dynamics between you and your relationships. Both people seem to have very deep feelings for one another, but for some reason, in some instances, there's a separation. Their feelings are going in different directions. And then we have the King of Cups. So there's a message here, maybe not all of you, but some of you. And if you don't have physical siblings, like literal siblings, they could be figurative, which means like cousins or adopted friends, like people who you're very close with. It seems as though somebody needs to grow into themselves because we have this Knight of Cups turning into the King of Cups. And so one person may be more self-aware. One person may be more emotionally mature. You know how they say girls are more mature than boys. So it might take some time for that other person to come around. Maybe this cycle has already started, but somebody has to see someone else's point. Somebody's heart, when I saw the Queen of Cups, I felt her heart was already ready. So she knew what she was doing. She knew what the energy is. She knows it all. And she's ready. And this other energy, this Knight of Cups to King of Cups, needs to go and come back. And it can be a woman. Don't get caught up on gender with tarot. Okay, so let's see the card. We have intention. So if you find yourself to be the Queen of Cups, don't get discouraged by the way they're treating you. If they're your cousins or brother or sister, don't get caught up. They still have to grow into some things. It's very important that you set really good intentions. Remember, as I said in the beginning, this is a lifetime transit. So by the end of your life or by a certain point of time, there's, with positive intentionality that you direct at the situation, there's going to be a positive resolution to your relationships with your siblings. So be aware of that. So we're talking about the 3rd house. Keep sending that positive energy in towards them, and very good energy will come out. Okay? So now let's take a look at the 4th house, which is more house, home. It's the house of the father. It's the house of the mother in certain representations. So it can represent parents, or it can represent your home, your physical home, family also, if you want to get creative. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this. I'm considering the astrology, but I'm not explaining in detail what I'm saying. So we have Knight of Cups here again. I wonder if that's a carryover from the sibling card that we saw. And then we have Wheel of Fortune. those of you who have siblings, there's some very good luck that is attached to that relationship. Even if that relationship isn't the best or the easiest, it's bringing positivity and good luck with it. And then we have strength. Strength through a relationship. For some of you, there may be financial struggle between you and a sibling at first. I feel it's more speculative, which means that there's an assumption about how things will go financially, one way or another. But I think that there's a deep bond, very, very deep bond there. And I think that there's going to be someone's bringing very good luck into your life. I think it's a sibling-like energy, somebody very close to you, but not necessarily romantic, if that makes sense. And someone with whom you've had a difficult relationship at times. A lot of speculation about what they will do. Will they be as trusting or trustworthy as you had hoped? Let's pick an angel card to see. So we have relaxation. Relaxation. So I think that there's a tenuous energy between yourself and someone else. And this is of the family dynamic. So you don't know if you can trust someone. Are they going to screw you around? Are they going to be nice? And I think that as time moves along, there is this real affirmative energy that's happening. And I think that you need to be patient. You need to see for yourself, but that energy is coming. Okay? So that's the 4th house. Now let's take a look at the 5th house for Cancer. So this is more the romantic love. And we have the South Node and Scorpio there. And of course, that's a trine to the position of the Jupiter and Neptune. So this is a very strong energy for you, a strong cycle beginning in love for Cancer. This is also the precursor, this energy right here, to Pluto leaving Capricorn. So Pluto is leaving Capricorn over the next 2 years. And this is a sextile, and this is a sextile. So all of these transits are very harmonious together. So for you, it's almost a precursor as to where love will go, or where love will kind of play itself out. So we have the Queen of Pentacles, boundaries. From the 5 readings we've done so far, it really feels as though you're meant to draw certain boundaries for yourself at this time, Cancer, and sort of stick to them before they sort of play themselves out. So you may not know what the outcome of certain situations will be yet, and you're sort of out on a limb with them. 7 of Pentacles, we had this in the 2nd house, remember? So there's this kind of like, where will things go? Will they will they stay to their side of the bargain? Will they stick to their side of the bargain? And we have this Queen of Cups energy again. So very similar energies are coming through as in the 3rd house. Now we're in the 5th house of romance. And so I feel as though your feelings may be very ready. Now we have to recognize that this 12-year transit of Pluto in the 7th house, has taught you a lot. You guys have gone through so much. You have had so many experiences. And so now you are coming into relationships with very advanced knowledge. And so therefore you may be ready to face certain things because you've been forced through that deep dark night of the soul in terms of love so much. You've been confronted with so much energy. And so I believe that at this time, what this is saying is that you may be coming into relationships at a very high vibration. And so in some way, circumstances will need to catch up to you. You'll be sort of ahead of the curve, and you'll be doing a fair bit of waiting and kind of seeing a situation for what it is before others see the situation for what it is. So all it is you need to recognize your feelings within the situations that are coming up, the love situations, know what they're about, call a spade, kind of name it for what it is, and then stick to your guns and don't doubt it. I think that's the energy, that's the cycle I'm seeing. So, and it's up to you to have confidence in what you are seeing. And then you have a carte blanche, which means a card that doesn't really have a word on it. So I use this card as saying that there's like real openness there in terms of relationships, a lot of possibilities. And I think that there's like a lot of self-awareness. So just stick to the things that you know to be true so that you can benefit from it. So now the 6th house. Okay, so when we're talking about the 6th house, it's a very complicated house. It has a lot to do with health, but it has a lot to do also with, the types of things we do day to day, our day-to-day lives. So let's see how Jupiter and Neptune conjunction are affecting this position. It's not the easiest placement in relation to this transit. It's a little bit of a tense energy. But with tension, I think in what I'm seeing as a pattern for your sign is that with this expansion in your 9th house, right? I think that in some way your thoughts and your ideas get very broad and there's a lot of possibilities ahead of you. And some of the practical things are feeling tension. Some of the literal things, how to make things work, schedules and so forth. How to work around your life is going to be the challenge. How to implement your big ideas into the daily things. So we have the sun in the 6th house. See, that's positive. Coming into situations with a lot of hope. There's a lot of change ahead of you. The world, many of you will, because it's the 9th house, many of you are inspired to change where you live, what your environment is like. You're sort of going into your daily situations with a lot of hope. 3 of Cups. And look, it's a square, but it's coming up so positive for you. Reunion with friends, maybe going back to places that you've already been, but just very much an expansion, very much let's go, let's see this new direction, let's see where things go. And then we have celebration. So what this is saying, and remember, the pattern is for the rest of your life. This is a transit that happens once every 150 some odd years, right? And so this is the last time it's going to join in Pisces in this position. And it's special because they're both in rulership there. So it is a pattern that will be with you for the rest of your life. And we have this celebration, a real temptation to go in new directions, a real temptation to try things in new ways. And maybe some of the friction that will come out will be, how do you actually make it happen? So you wake up with ideas of travel, of relocation, of going somewhere else, of seeing an old friend or friends in general, of being romantic, of being kind of expansive. And yet there's literal things that you need to take care of. Who's going to feed the dog, right? Who's going to make the car payments? So one of the things that I'm seeing is you're going to have to figure out how to make that happen, how to make it work. So the 7th house is usually the one most Cancers are waiting for, but also information on, but also everybody else. It's the house of partnership and relationships. And we know that Pluto's been in there for a good long time. And many of you have told me, and we know this, have had difficult relationships, very power-dominated relationships, which means that whether, someone had actual power over you or whatever was going on, you were confronted with difficult dynamics in relationships for the last 12 years. And if you're fairly young, let's say you're under 30, there's not been a time in your adult life in which this transit hasn't been here. So you are going to have a big eye opener. And if you're older than 30, then it's very likely that you will go back to an energy frequency after Pluto leaves that was more akin to what was before. Less intense, less volatile, less confrontational. Much more easygoing in terms of partnerships. So some of you might be in a transition phase with your relationships also, especially if your relationships are deeply rooted in the 7th house at this time, if they're deeply connected to it. let's see what kind of cards we have. We have the Strength card, which is Leo. That's a lot of Leo energy here in the second house for you. And then we have, so financial matters leading to struggles. I wonder how many of you have had partners who have challenged you financially in some way. And then we have the Last Judgment, making harsh decisions with regard to other people. I had a client that I was speaking with a little while ago, a return client, and she reminded me of that saying of going through the same pattern with a similar type person as you've gone through before, but knowing what you're dealing with and calling the shots on it. I'm not going to let you drag me into financial difficulties. I know how difficult it can be to lose control over my life because of a partner. I'm going to make certain decisions. I know it's this deep-seated knowing. Let's see what kind of card we have for the 7th house for Cancer. And happiness. And that's what she literally said to me. I was happy to let him go because I knew what that would come with. I knew what that energy was coming with, and I didn't want it. As much as I liked him, as much as I loved him, this was a boyfriend, not like a long-term partner, but one she liked a lot. She just felt an ease in letting him go. And that's that contentment, being satisfied, right? Being satisfied in choosing the right thing for yourself. And maybe for many of us, I have Cancer placements. That is the lesson. Finally, and we can know it, but now we feel it after Pluto. And so, of course, this is a sextile to this Jupiter mind expansion for Cancer. So, hey girl, hey, it's kind of like a good sign of that, right? So really, like, to the point that you're not telling other people how you feel about it, to the point that you actually feel it. It's not, you don't have to convince anyone. You don't have to convince yourself. Now let's take a look at the 8th house. Right now we have Saturn in your 8th house. That's intense. I don't know. We should do some focus on Saturn moving forward as it squares the nodes, but just as a precursor, Cancer signs, be very, very wary or careful around finances and people around you. If there's a situation around you in which you're sharing equity with people, you're sharing money with people, or resources, and it's you're getting some like orange flags, maybe not red flags, be very wary around those situations. Saturn, don't risk your money with other people at this time. If you have a good situation going, great, but be very wary. Anything that makes you feel uneasy, it probably is for a good reason. And now we have the Queen of Wands. So Sag, Leo, or Aries, possibly female, male. I'll tell you guys more about that. Somebody rushing you into financial situations, not such a good energy. Somebody wanting to share. Somebody giving you money up front. Who watched the documentary called The Tindler Swindler? You guys know what I'm talking about? He first gave money as an incentive to make him appear, took her on a trip, whatever, showed off his jet. And then started it's kind of like love bombing, but different. So in the 8th house with that Saturn there, I'm feeling kind of like, be careful of patterns with other people and these kinds of energies. But we have 8 of Wands, love. But then also know how to love generously and be generous with others financially. People stepping in and giving help, that's also there. So it's kind of both in the 8th house. Generosity, but I would say be a little cautious. Be a little cautious of where you throw your money in. But you have this six of Pentacles, generosity with others, and the kindness. A kindness that you've extended to someone in the past is being repaid towards you, Cancer. So that's exciting. Okay, so we have compassion again. I'm not really shuffling these cards, but whatever. They're angels, so let them come as they will. So compassion with others. So it could be payout for compassion that you have given to someone else. So now we're in the 9th house where this energy is happening. The rest of April and into May is just very positive for the water signs, water and earth. And so Mars is about to enter Pisces, but overall it's just beautiful connection. Whatever's happening now, wherever your life is taking you, Cancer, it wants you to see more. It wants you to embrace more. So embrace more. Okay, so let's see this energy. So we have the Tower. Oh, so powerful as the 9th house. There's a direct confrontation to what you're seeing in the world. There's a direct confrontation to the beliefs that you have. Listen, if you quietly let's say that you believe something in a way that people know you for believing that or having that opinion, and yet personally you have found a truth towards something else, something that you're shy to confirm or accept, embrace it. This is what this is saying. And then we have the Devil card, which is the Pluto card. I think you're meant to like confront your environment and confront your own thoughts and feelings about situations. And then we have the Hanged Man. This is going to slow down certain things for you for a period of time. As you're letting go, this is Capricorn energy. So again, referencing the 7th house. Working through things that other relationships have left with you is slowing things down. The Hanged Man. And you have to, like with Tower, those are big things. Very, very transformative. And the more that it happens, you don't want to resist it. You want to just go into it as much as you can. And there is no perfection in this energy, which means there is no 100%. So don't feel like you've not done enough. Just do the best you can in whatever life is giving you at this time. Let's see the next energy. We have balance. Okay. So balance is being restored. Allow the process to happen. Just really kind of like, wow. Like, how do you say, like, your life is being changed. You're seeing things from a different perspective. Your reality is in shock. Okay. Okay. So that's pretty huge. Mind blown. And especially for Jupiter and Neptune. Mind blown. Okay. And then we have the 10th house, which is Aries for you. And so that's career and your public life. Let's see what's going on in the 10th house for this conjunction. We have the 6th. Powerful friendships, Cancer. You have powerful friends and alliances. This has shown up again and again. You touch people in such a specific way that they don't forget. You touch their heart. And don't believe that don't sell that short. Don't believe that, oh, it's not enough or whatever. It is enough. And then we have the 8 of Swords, which is you feel like you can't get through something, but you're not counting it's a humility sort of thing where you don't think that you have the impression on other people that you do, and you have this powerful effect on others. Okay. And then we have the King of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Very likely that's you. The pattern is that you will learn once and again just how much people appreciate you. You'll come to really realize their gratitude for you in their life. And as you go through life moving forward, there will be a self-awareness there. So you'll know the power of your generosity, the power of your spirit. And that will make you feel like you'll know that people care about you. You'll feel that much more clearly. And so any obstacles, which is the 8 of Swords, will feel much less obstacle-y. So we have commitment. So no questions about commitment in friendship. Like, you will learn lessons and learn much more about who your real friends are. Not in that kind of, shaking the finger type of way. This is like proof. You're going to see time and again, like, these are my good friends. Like, I've done so much for them and they know it and I know it, and you don't have to prove it to them. They just solid friends. And your kindness and generosity is not going to go unnoticed. So I think in your public life, you're going to have you know, people giving you references, people giving you tips for jobs, people giving you all sorts of help along the way. Okay. And then we have Uranus and Mercury in the 11th house for now. Mercury's just entered Taurus, about to go retrograde. Okay, so let's see 3 cards. But this is also a sextile. Very friend-oriented conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune. Let's see what's going on there. We have the Hierophant, which is the card of Taurus. Okay. And then we have the Hanged Man. There's catching up energy that's been showing up a lot in your reading. Catching up to you, people figuring out what you already know about the relationship. So 5 of Swords. Fight feelings of disappointedness about other people. Like I said in the reading already, you know so much about people. You know about your worth and their worth, and it's kind of self-evident to you. And so therefore, I think that fight feelings of like they don't get it because you get it faster than others do. A lot to do with Pluto in the 7th house, those life lessons that others didn't quite get the same way as you do. So be patient. I think people will be, they will be positive. You'll be positively surprised in a long term. People will actually get what you're about. They'll get your energy. And then let's see, surrender energy, surrender into friendships. And this year, especially with the North Node in your 11th house, so important. Surrender into friendships, surrender into your relationships, your friendships, surrender into trust, the ups and downs, because like they're not perfect, you know, so they need their own time to figure things out. Surrender and be patient. So it means that if they don't call you back or if they don't act the way that you want them to act, I think you'll be taught about your relationship with them, that they really care about you nonetheless. It's just they don't get it at the depth of the level you do often. Not everyone, but you will notice this moving forward with others. Okay? And so the last house, the 12th house, which is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Let's take a look at your energy there. So let's see. So we have Tower, which is the 12th house. Tower is pretty good. So the 2 houses of consciousness, which is the 9th house and the 12th house, both had the Tower in them. Real change in how you see the world, how you perceive the world, massive perception change. And then you have the King of Swords. That's also your card, very likely. And then the next energy, we have the Chariot, overcoming, which is the card of Cancer. I think that you're taking control over the things that you see in the world. There's no question mark at the end of your sentences. You're not asking someone else for confirmation. You're answering the questions yourself with the King of Swords. This is how it is. Determinate nature. You're a cardinal sign after all, right? And then we have authenticity. So reach into your authenticity, connect with the bottom line, and act upon it. It's so cool that the last card is the Chariot card because it's your card, Cancer. So you have the last card confirming. So speak with truth. Speak through the 12th house. Bring your truth into action and move forward boldly. Very, very lucky. So that's pretty comprehensive. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for hanging out with me. It took almost an hour. Wow. Hopefully the other ones, well, I'm happy to do it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to move over to Pisces now. So if Pisces are around, Sun, Moon, and Rising, it's your time. Hi, everyone in the comments. Hello. Welcome. I hope you guys are having fun. Okay, so this is a deep dive sort of reading, so I hope you guys like it. Okay, so now let's see Pisces. Hi, Pisces. How did I do it before? I did 3 pairs of 2 from the Braille Tillet. That's how I want to start it. And then we're going to take a look at your conjunction in the first house, which is probably like the major conjunction. It's your ruler in the first house. You're so blessed at this time. Okay, so let's see your energy. We have the energy of home, which is 99, the number 99. And 9 plus 9 equals 18, breaks down to 9, home. And then we have 25, home and movement, Pisces. I think that many of you are challenging the idea of home. And so you're challenging the idea of home. And home to you sometimes feels restrictive, which means that you want to go, you want to, have multiple places that are home to you, but life is that's not the society's expectation. So I think that concept of plurality in your home, where home is going to really come into your life over the next several years. And that will be a theme for you for the rest of your life. The next energy is higher level forces. Okay. And then let's pick one more. We have difficult. So higher level forces are here to help you through difficult things. I think the difficulty for you comes through communicating multi-level experiences into a very linear world, a world that's very black and white, very one thing or the next. It's very simple in how it plays out. And I think you want nuance in your life, and those nuances are hard to translate into how everybody lives, but you have guides, you have angels, you have energy that's helping you. Let's see the next energy. The next cards, we have transformation, which is the card of 111. Look at these. You're getting killer numbers. 111, 99. That's very cool. Transformation and 51, dignity. I feel like many of you are already in some way healers or work with energy with the people around you. I just think that's a Piscean thing, like the healer energy. And I feel as though increasingly so, there's going to be a less reference to the other, which means fewer and fewer people will want to be, you will want confirmation from the outside world less and less. And in and of itself, you will become a very powerful healer and being, and you're stepping into that energy of personal transformation and personal power. And so transformation and dignity here, I just feel as though as you let go of the outside world, so you're there for the outside world, but as you let go of its approval, then your notoriety will really rise, which means other people will recognize you for your gifts and your abilities. So home and movement, let's pick an angel card for that. We have power. So your power is in the differentiation. Your power is in like a multilateral approach. It's not unified. So your home isn't meant to be one place. It's meant to be different relationships and different spaces and different places with people. Then we have the higher level forces and difficult. And so this is courage. Again, courage has come up. Courage has come up before with higher level forces. And I think that there is a brazenness about you with this energy. A brazenness meaning it's like subtle, but like you're going for it. You're going for the difficult things. And sometimes you might sit there and be like, holy crap, I got myself in a pickle. I really got myself in a tough situation. But I think that at those times, you will be proven that there's energy that's supporting you. So you're sort of being a little badass, you know? And then we have transformation and dignity. And your card for that is sisterhood and brotherhood. So it's your relationship to other people is important. All of the water signs, I'll show you guys in the this part right now with the astrology. All the water signs are deeply rooted with this transit in relation to other people. So your relationships to others are deeply ingrained with this transit. But it's for you, because it's in your first house. It's more of the I, the first house, the me. But it's in relation to the world around you. Less dependence, more fluidity in terms of where home is and who home is with. And then the idea of brotherhood or sisterhood of the world around you, not being in a specific space or not being with specific people, and not being contingent on the approval of one person or even a group of people. It's this, you can't touch me because I'm the energy worker. This is very powerful combination. If you're watching this, it's a huge message for you. Okay? So that's weird. I don't know if you guys know. So when I do these readings for Pisces, they get weird sometimes, and I say, let's get weird. So I think that's relevant. So now let's talk about the astrology a little bit. So that was just the context. This is a long ass reading today, so I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so we have Jupiter in the first house with Neptune, and this conjunction is very rare. I'm not sure if I'll do like a collective astrology breakdown for this, because I think these are long readings, so I don't think you guys need more than this. But there's conflicting energy, as I said, specifically from Saturn squaring the nose. But this is like far bigger of a pattern. This is 150 years. So this is once we're human 2.0 and we've got all the genetic modifications, maybe we'll be living to 150 years old. But for now, it's kind of outside of our reach, just over a human lifetime. But anyway, so Jupiter, Neptune, big pattern starting right there. And it's happening in your first house. And it's happening at the same time as Venus is in Pisces, and Mars is about to move to Pisces. So this is happening, Mars will enter Pisces. This is a huge push of energy. It's kind of like having something on your mind in terms of where you want to see things grow in your life, and having the push to do it, having the push to go and achieve the creative or the novel ideas that you have. It's a stand by your imagination sort of transit. And I think that your relationships with others will greatly fuel this and greatly impact that. And I think that your experiences in the world up to this point, be it in this lifetime or even a past life, are in some way accumulating you to this point of separation from expectations. So separation from expectations from others, separation from appeasing expectations or approval. Just a real radical, really, really radical transit for you, Pisces. Okay? Just real separateness from other people. On a really fundamental level, not caring what their approval or whatever, what have you. You might have had some friends here and there who have inspired you, powerful people who have inspired you to see this energy. So maybe you met some people who really live by the beat of their own drum, and it inspired you. So let's go house by house, and let's work our way through it. Let's see it. Okay. Sorry, I'm just fidgety because this is such a long one. Okay, so Pisces, let's see the first house. We start off with the big banger. We have the Six of Wands. I'm really getting this energy of, those doubts that you had. Should I be myself, or should I choose myself in this moment? Should I do this thing that I care about so much? Is being confirmed by the Six of Wands. And we have Seven of Cups. There's a Neptunian energy here. This is Venus in Scorpio. But this can easily double for a Neptune card. The Seven of Cups. Illusion in the first house. Neptune in the first house is known to be a difficult transit because people miss the point with you. So communication with others, you're much more an observer than, a two-way energy. So if you have Neptune in the first house, there's a lot to say about that. But I think that breaking through the barrier, and regardless of, others' approval, you're getting some opportunities here to really go forward with your vision. And I really encourage you this is a special transit, so go after your vision. Let's see the card. So we have the awakening. So it's like you wake up one morning, maybe on Tuesday when this is exact, and you're like, I gotta go and do this. And so you go and do that. And it goes really well. There's more and more people saying, oh, we've shifted into a new reality. We have, and this is another shift into a new reality right now. So let's talk about the second house. This is where the sun is at the time of filming, about to move away though. Also Chiron. Chiron in the second house would be a hard transit. It affects money. It makes money, it kind of like everything that's difficult about money for you comes up. But that's only temporary. We have 7 of Cups, and there's a lot of life lessons alongside this. And then we have the 7 of Cups. And we have the 3 of Cups. 7 of Cups. Reunion with others, and 2 of Cups. Money might bring you and someone else together, but this is the romantic 2 of Cups. Someone from your past especially. Money might be bringing you and someone else together that might lead to some type of a deeper relationship. Chiron in the second house makes you feel vulnerable about money. And so as this transit is happening, maybe for the next few years, this is a pattern that's going to extend through the rest of your life. So if you watched the beginning of the video, that's what I pointed out. But the Neptune, with Neptune there, but the 2 of Cups there, you might be feeling some form of financial insecurity that may prompt you to reach out to someone, and the relationship grows much stronger than you expected. Interesting. This may be for some of you happening now, for some of you may happen down the road. But you're meant to go back to someone. You're meant to reconnect with someone. You're meant to be wary financially, experience wariness, and reconnect with them. Okay. And then we have harmony. There's just such a harmony coming into your relationship around money. So if you're wondering whether to call your friend or whatever to something to do with money, then it says this feels very, very love oriented, deeply like you haven't seen someone for a long time and you see them, Pisces, and it's like, wow, the feeling is there, that closeness is there. Very, very romantic. Who would have thought the second house, huh? Love can show up everywhere. Remember that. We have the third house next, which is kind of your neighborhood. It makes me think of, I was going to say Roger Waters. No, not Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. Beautiful day for a neighbor. Let's see what's going on in your neighborhood, Pisces. All right. So we have the 4 of Pentacles. Your environment, your neighborhood is sort of restrictive. People lock their doors. They may be a little bit distant. You might be in a space where people keep to themselves at this time. 8 of Swords. You don't know people so much, and it's this kind of a feeling. I lived in a place like this for like 3 or 4 years in which I didn't know anyone, and I'm kind of social person, so I kind of meet people wherever I go. And but when I lived at this place, I literally didn't know anyone, never, like barely, and they were so resistant. This is reminding me of this resistance to social. And it feels uncanny. It felt very strange to have my house in a place where I didn't know people. It was very, very strange. And there was this silent resistance there. So that's when I'm feeling tension. And then we have Page of Wands. I think that you'll find certain people. the nice aspect of that is nobody's up in your business, right? Everybody's minding their business. And then you will find a few people who stick out in your environment. Isn't that so interesting? So your energy is much more beyond your neighborhood. Your energy is with your city or with your county, whatever, province or state, or even like very global perspective. It's almost like what's going on in your city, town, your near environment is not necessarily, how do you say this? It's like a microcosm of the big picture, so it kind of gets fuzzy of what's going on there. But this Page of Wands is friends in your environment. So it's like, let's be strangers together sort of energy. Okay. You might be seeing that kind of energy come up. We have expansiveness. So growing beyond, trying things beyond your environment. Your immediate environment is quiet. It's sort of quiet. It's undisturbed, so you can challenge it. And over a period of time, let's say a couple years or even a decade, you will have experiences. It's quiet, so you have these experiences that allow you to tap into different spaces. It doesn't distract you from exploring, which is good. And you will have friends. It's not isolation. It's more like, yeah, it's very strange, very dystopic. Okay. And then we have the 4th house, which is in your 4th house. It's like home, family kind of energies, parents. So this energy is not necessarily so easy in relation to Jupiter and Neptune, but let's see what's going on with it. So we see the World card. There's going to be a lot of growing beyond your environment. Remember what we said in the Brautele cards? It was like, look beyond or push past your immediate environment, challenge the status quo. And then we have 2 of Wands, very kind of rhizome, sort of like potatoes, I don't know if you know how potatoes grow. They're in the soil. They sort of like, how do you say, they grow in like this web, in like this very kind of not what's the word I'm looking for? Not systemic, sort of like, they're not, how do you say this? Like abstract, very, very, I don't know, like jazz, like I'm forgetting the word. They're not super, how do you say this? They're not super organized in how they grow. And so I sense for like your home energy, sort of that sort of sort of like this, not chaotic. I don't want to worry you. It's a positive thing. It's sort of like, variable, very variable, lots of different spaces of home and experiences of home, non-linear, if that makes sense. And all this reaching for beyond. So not unsettled in your home, but also finding home not in one place, in different experiences. So it's much more, it's not all eggs in one basket. That's another good way to say it. It's very, very interesting. And then we have 4 of Pentacles. I sense that you have some resistance to that. And honestly, I would too. I would be like, no, Veroosh, I just want my house. I just want my house and home. But I think that the energy is going to convince you that it's a good thing. And it is a good thing. Okay. Then we have purpose. So basically what I'm saying is like home becomes an abstract space for you, in which, you might live in a house, but your home may be with your friends or at work. It may be a combination of things. I don't think one thing is going to provide that whole thing for you. And I think if you try just to restrict it to one thing, you're going to feel resistance. So there's going to be this feeling of, trying different levels or how do you say this? Trying different levels or trying to approach things in varied ways. Okay. So yeah, the world changes of perspective, And time will change things for you as well. If you feel like a space is very comfortable for you, that may not last forever. You might feel the urge to change things. And I think the world will facilitate that for you in some way. Okay. That's in lots of you changing, like peeling like an onion and finding new layers to your personality and stuff. Okay. And then we have the 5th house for Pisces. Let's see. Pisces 5th house. Let's take a look at 3 cards. So we have the Hierophant. Lots of community for the water signs, right? Community, Hierophant, also Taurus. Taurus is going to be very important for the next month into May for everybody. So that's why it's coming up. 5th house is romance, by the way, if you're new. Sorry, I didn't clarify. And so for you, the 5th house is very harmonious to this romance, very lucky, finding love in your community. I think that for you, home is going to be very attached to the people that you know, moving forward, the world, going beyond your borders. Lots of you guys will be traveling. We'll see what happens once we reach the 9th house, what kind of cards we'll get, but lots of travel. We have kindness and generosity and friendship. Being friends with people based on principles, things that you value, things that you connect with, your disposition towards others, people helping you, like surprisingly helping you, like these people are like investing into you or giving you all this positive energy. Okay. So I thought this was going to be an hour. Holy crap. It's been a while since I filmed videos, so okay, so now we're going to go into the 6th house. This is good, though. This is a good kind of, this is what I want to do, and this is, this is good. Okay, so we have 3 of Cups. Okay, so reunion with people who you knew on a regular basis in the past. A lot. Lots of, like, going back to people and situations in one way or another. Like a coworker that you loved a lot, and then one of you left the job or whatever. New beginnings. Deeply, like, go back to people. Revisit old relationships, Pisces. Is so good for you. And then we have Tower. And structure is going to be an issue moving forward. Like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I don't think that that's going to work for you, for many of you guys, very easily. There's going to have to be variance in your energy. Let's see what we have here. We have communication. Open communication with things. I think that with this Tower also, it's saying that, like, when you need to create this diverse environment around you, Pisces, I think that if you don't want your immediate environment to start coming down fast, don't tell people. Honestly, just don't tell people. Don't challenge verbally your environment, because you're in I'm sensing very strong energy for change and like dynamic spaces, dynamic experiences. And so therefore, I don't think that like confronting, like the literal or the unilateral space that you're in, like your job, I don't think it's going to be like it translates easily for them. So it's going to really fracture your reality. So you need to be very quiet, I think, for the things that you want to keep going for a time until it's time to let it go. And then you say something. I think so. I think that like, yeah. So basically like, don't freak them out with your energy. That's what it's saying. And this is, remember, for the rest of your life. This is a really, hopefully write it down or something. I think that's a big one for many of you. So it's like, so basically it's almost like, don't tell them about the dynamic side of your experience at this time. It's like your round peg is not going to fit into their square hole, it's not going to process well. And then the process of saying it, you're going to fracture that space. And if you want to continue in that space in some way, you may not want to freak them out. It's almost like time traveling with a computer back to the 1500s and saying this is a computer. Like, it's going to blow their mind. They're not going to be able to process it. So it's like, be careful, you know, like don't bring your computer to the 1500s. Okay, now the 7th house, relationships, partnerships. I'm filming this under Moon and Virgo. So this is opposite to where Jupiter and Neptune are joining. But let's see how Jupiter and right away I'll tell you it shows you what your friends are. It shows you who your friends are, and an eagle just flew by, and I think that you literally know who you're dealing with. Okay, so first card we have is strength, very passionate connection with people. And I just think that like you're gonna be like glue with some people in certain situations. It's gonna come so naturally. They're gonna flow into your life so naturally. And many of you are going to deviate into a career or job that is like fits perfectly. There's something like, it's not about rejecting the things that don't fit. It's about being guided towards the things that fits, and they're going to be very harmonious. Let's see. And then we have new jobs for many of you. And especially if you're somewhat uncomfortable in what you do, I think that you're going to be doing a big release with regard to your careers. And then we have expectancy. So if you guys are waiting to have kids, maybe some of you are going to choose to be stay-at-home parents in some way. But also I feel as though something's growing within you, growing into maturity. Not talking about kids, I'm just talking about work or a relationship or something. And then once it reaches that level of really coming into itself, then it becomes second nature. It becomes very easy. Okay. And the Ace of Wands represents, initiating, starting something new, very definitive or determinate step for you. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, so now let's take a look at your 8th house, which is the 8th house is kind of it's the house of Scorpio. In your chart, it's the 7th house. It's Libra, sorry. This is a lot to do with change and transformation, money, taxes, sex, all these sorts of things. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but we're not going to talk about it explicitly. So we have 5 of Cups. I think a lot of your, traditional relationships that you have with other people are going to be hard to negotiate or navigate, Pisces. You do this, I do that. It's not going to work so easily. I think that you're going to have your friendships and your relationships and your intimate partners, it's not necessarily like, it's not going to be like a stereotype type of stuff. It's going to be very different. And I think that this 5 of Cups would come with attempting to have those kind of nuclear family types of relationships. And I think that it's not necessarily stress or tension. As time goes on in this cycle with Jupiter and Jupiter, Neptune and Jupiter, sorry. I think you're going to be constantly incentivized to have more, different types of relationships. 4 of Cups. You're getting lots of this. Offers. Do you want this or do you want that? What do you want, Pisces? Wheel of Fortune. And they're going to be good things, like good possibilities, good opportunities, good ways of seeing things. Very nice. Okay, so let's pick an angel card. We have Trust. So trust the process. I think that really stepping away from nuclear family kind of stuff and much more into, nonconformist, that's the word I'm looking for. Nonconformist sort of relationships and situations. Okay, Pisces, now we're into the 9th house. So this is where I think a lot of your energy will go. There's a huge energy of nostalgia here. And when I say nostalgia, it's like thinking about the past and finding value in it. And so you're being drawn towards revisiting things about yourself, and you're being drawn into thinking about the past and, you know, looking at it from a different perspective. Let's see the next energy. So we have the Nine of Swords. Where did things go wrong? Where did things go in a way that you don't want them to? And maybe what did you skip over as you were trying to achieve something? That's on your mind. And then we have the Hanged Man. So there's a reorientation saying, I got to where I wanted to be, but along the line, I had to take all these sacrifices. So now I'm going to, in some way, trying to challenge those sacrifices to bring more positivity into my life. Let's see the next energy. We have the Ace of Rods. So you're fixing things in your life. And this could be visiting places that you regret leaving, moving to places that you regret leaving, reconnecting with people that you miss. Life has proven you that you do need them in your life. This is all, allow yourself to go slow. Here is the next energy. So we have understanding. Understanding, okay? So understanding on a deep level, seeing where you went wrong. It's a South Node transit. It's strong trine to Jupiter. Strong trine to Jupiter and Neptune. And the cycle is like, you know, where your ambition or your life took you past a certain space or past a certain position. And you know where the value is in that. So it's time for you to go back. It's time for you to get that Ace of Rods. This is such a neat card, especially. This is my deck if you don't watch my channel very much. I made these cards. I don't sell them. I might, though. But I really like them. So I show them off all the time. But anyway, I just like reading with them. There's just a good energy. But this Ace of Wands, I just love when it comes up because to me, it just has so much vibrance and so much, just such a definitive step, such a definitive step. I know what I want. I'm going to go after it, you know, just so determined. Okay, so 10th house now for Pisces. So career kind of vibe in relation to Jupiter and Neptune. Not such an easy aspect from here to here. That's okay. So it's not, that means that just the energy of Jupiter and Neptune is not as harmonious to your 10th house as it would be for somebody else. But you have more of an emphasis in relationships. And like I said, more nostalgic, more like looking at challenging what you know to be true, challenging yourself. So it's much less about, you know, how that works for other people. It's much more about how that works for you. That's the Neptune Jupiter energy. Okay, so let's see your 10th house, Pisces. So we have the Tower. The Tower is good. The Tower is a challenge to the status quo. In some way, one of the themes I see coming up for Pisces a lot is the emergence of a different person. The emergence of a different person. People who have Neptune in the first house, they natally, like if you're born and you have Neptune in the first house, they typically are hard for other people to understand. So it's not an easy transit to have. Liz Green wrote a whole book about Neptune, and she says it's one of the hardest placements in the first house. And I agree. But I don't think it's as pessimistic. So about the first house Neptune, I think it brings a lot of creativity, but people miss the point. So the Tower is coming up a lot for you guys in general, because there's the kind of like the expectation is different than the reality, right? And that's okay, because the reality is going to be better. And then you have the Seven of Cups. There's a lot of confusion. So some of you guys might be taking jobs where once you're at the job, people are like, who the hell did we hire? Who is this person? And so I think that if you find yourself in situations like this, a job like this or whatever, where there's a disconnect between yourself and others, I feel like that wasn't the right place, and there was some kind of false ambition that you went after for the job. So such as pride or, ambition, misplaced ambition, or whatever else made you go into that space. You clinging to an aspect of yourself that has been removed. Okay. And then here is the next energy. We have the Two of Swords. And this is Moon in Libra. Coming to terms with things, learning a lot about your relationships with others in the public space, less friends and more how you fit into the whole nexus of the world. And then also coming to terms with where you don't fit. Because some people really need to be the literal, direct, black and white sort of people. Some people need to be that role. The very simple role is also beautiful, but yours is the more like, very like, it's not meant to be one thing. It's not meant to be sit in this chair and hit this button. Someone needs to sit in that chair and hit buttons, but it's not you necessarily. Maybe you're meant to, run around from here to there and have spaces that capture that energy or support your energy. Let's pick a card for you. We have Honesty. So again, I don't mean to call anyone out with this, but this Honesty card is really, to me, it's saying like, and I know this, I'm not picking on you. I'm not saying bad Pisces, whatever, but this is like, when you're trying to conform and you don't conform, and you're trying to fit yourself into a space in which you conform, because that's what you should do, and you get either rejected or you completely don't fit in, or there's like some major discrepancies. So it's about letting go of the need to fit yourself into spaces that you may not fit into, and coming to terms with that, being at peace with that. So for some of you, you've already figured that out. For others, you may have to have a couple more experiences before you viscerally really understand. Okay, so 11th house is much more friends. Friends love you, Pisces, and you'll see this as a pattern really emerge. People love you, and you're drawn to the right people that really appreciate your energy. You're a divisive sign. You're a sign, in other words, that some people really like and people have strong opinions on, right? You have Four of Swords next. Rest with your friends and ease with friends. Good stuff. And then we have Seven of Cups. It's like people with whom you can rest amid a lot of confusion, amid a lot of complex life experiences. So life is confused, but you're spending time with that friend. You're hanging out with that friend, and it's simple and it's calm, right? So, both of your lives might be dynamic and complex and all this, but then you're together and it's restful. So that's very nice energy. And then we have the Nine of Swords. So rest from difficulties, rest from stress with friendships. And then also in certain respects, some friends might try to overpower you, but I think that there's going to be some lessons with stepping away from spaces in which there's power struggles with friends. It's only because you're growing into yourself and jealousy is the factor, or they're in some way threatened by what your kind of energy is at. And so you have the energy of vision. Okay. So vision, seeing things for what they are. So either you're chilling on the porch with your friend, the ease of the relationship. Oh, I've been getting downloads for you. So it's the friends that are so easy to connect with. It's the friends that, like, people who you don't have to convince. How about that's a nice way to say it. And the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups is really distance from those hardships that are a byproduct of being different, right? But then there's the energy of some people, because Pluto's here, some people don't like the weird vibe. And so as they get to know you better, they try to overpower you or make you stuck. And so some of these experiences will be difficult, Nine of Swords. But I think that it adds to your perspective. It adds to you learn through both experiences, through the friends you can relax with and just, just rest. And then through the relationships that are difficult, that try to stifle you. More and more you will feel resistant to it, less gullible to their games or their ways. Okay? And then the last one, the 12th house, which is your house, but here in your chart we have Saturn. So this is a point of tension because we have these nodal squares going on with Saturn right now. But this is a part of this energy beginning. So 12th house. This intrinsically, I feel like this has to do with your next life. So it's not so much for this experience. I know that sounds funny, but having accepted a lot of things for yourself at this time, there's new lessons that are emerging for the next life, if that makes sense. So you're stepping into the waters of the next life. And so even though it's funny because like you want a reading for here and now, but really where your 12th house is pointing to, or what your 12th house is reconciling, and this is specific for this reading, is themes and karma or dharma of a future life that has yet to really play itself out or begin. I hope that makes sense. Now that's weird, right? Okay, so we have 4 of Wands. So that's a nice card. A nice Aries card. Home, family, love, marriage. 5 of Swords, breaking down of relationships. So if you're going through breakdown around the house, neighbors, partner, or so forth, and there's like a real discrepancy between what they think and what you think, a lot of those themes are in relation to a future life, not this life, not yet. Okay, let's see the next card. We have the Fool, a new beginning. So walking away from things that are not working and beginning this new path. So this is for a future life. I know that sounds very strange, but hopefully let me know if it doesn't make sense in the comments. But yeah, future life themes beginning through your relationships, particularly it seems around the house. And then we have humor. So some of the things that come up in your life, Pisces, are not meant for here. They're meant for somewhere else. They're meant for the next time. Okay? So if a problem's like, you're like, why am I getting this theme come up in my life? What is this about? This feels really out of place for me. It's for the next life. So you're getting that sort of, you're perceiving. One of the things about Pisces is the sign is you see the membrane, right? Like, so other people don't see as close to the edge as you do of perception. So you're sort of seeing, and so in that space, the edge of perception, there's shadows and shadows of things that are beyond that many of us can't perceive. And that's the confusion, right? The shadows beyond. Okay. So that was Pisces. I hope you guys had fun. I'm going to check in with the comments and then we're going to do Scorpio last but not least. It looks pretty dark because it's 7:30. Remember when I was complaining I can't film at 2? Well, Deji says she's not a Pisces, but you know, she's feeling some of the messages. That's cool, by all means. But if you have placements in Pisces, you know, maybe that's a kind of a part of it. So it got nice and dark for Scorpio, which is kind of funny. Let's see if we can oh, there we go. I fixed it. Welcome, Scorpios, to your reading. I'm trying not to be silly. But yeah, so let's look at Scorpios. I hope that these are fun. And thanks for everybody who's commenting. Please comment on the video when it gets posted so it gets seen. So yeah, no, I appreciate that, you guys. Okay, so now Scorpio turn. Did you guys like my welcome to the lair intro? Okay, so Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Let's talk about Jupiter and Neptune. Now I'm going to do this. This is going to be over 2 hours for 3 signs. So I'm going to do all of your signs over the next 2 to 3 days. So be nice to me, please. Okay, so let's do this. I'm happy that I could get more light and you guys can see. Scorpios, let's see. So the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune is happening in your 5th house. So this is the romance. Hey girl, hey. This is really nice. So, yeah, romance, patterns of romance. It's a big year for you in terms of relationships. I think Virgo and Scorpio have the big relationship year. And I would say Scorpio is a little bit, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Virgo started off really intense and it will continue to some degree, but yours is just still going and it's only heating up now. So I think Scorpio's love year is a little bit more intense than Virgo. Let's pick 3 Braille pairs to see the beginning of the energy. Hopefully it won't get dark by the time I'm done this. So if I'm doing yours a little bit faster, it's because the sun is going to set and it's cloudy. Okay, so we have far away. Far away. You don't have many transits in far away places. So let's see. Maybe you want to be far away. You want to be far. So, this is where it's pointing to here. I'll show you. Pluto's locked you in Scorpio into your neighborhood, something close. And so I think that there's a pattern here of wanting to get out of the immediate space that feels uncomfortable or that challenging the current space. So rather than confronting certain things, you want to be far away. So there's this persistent feeling that you want to be further away, out of the context, out of the situation. There's a lot of daydream energy around. And then we have knowledge, number 41, and opening. So that's self-explaining, self-explicit. No, what's the word I'm thinking of? That's self-explanatory. I don't know. I couldn't think of that. So there's information that comes to you about people and circumstances that are going to open up relationships for you. So disclosure, through direct information or gossip or third parties, people are going to bring you information about others, about situations. Allow your perspective to change about other people. And then we have the energy of danger, number 38. And then we have path, danger, path. There's definitely an energy here that feels perilous. Maybe this has to do with the South Node in Scorpio this year. This is a transit that will continue for the rest of your life. But I'm going to tell you guys honestly what I see in terms of the reading. I'm not going to flower it up or tell you something that's not there. So what I see is things are good, first of all. Things are very good. But I think that, how do I say this? I think that your paranoia is not unfounded in certain situations. I'll just say it. And so, which means that some situations that make you feel uncomfortable for the right reasons. But I don't think that they're literal. I think that the general environment is what we're talking about. So if you're like, I don't really feel comfortable in this country that I'm living, if that's your take on things, I don't really feel, there's a reason for it. And I think that there's going to be exit strategies that you are going to be seeking. It's not necessarily your country. It could be anything else. Something's not fitting right here. And I think that that's where you need to go your path in different direction. It's the feeling that it's not paranoia, first of all. It's not Scorpio paranoia. It's the fact that you pick up on nuances that other people don't pick up on. You pick up on, you put 2 and 2 together very fast, and you know where the path leads you to, right? And so those feelings of wanting to be far away from something, or feeling a threat or a danger, even if it's not, if it feels paranoid, or like there's nothing literal that you can point to and say, oh, this is what actually feels like danger. I think that a lot of this, you're going to trust that feeling much more. And this does not feel right. Okay, I got to go. And I think that you'll be very good at sourcing new paths. And when you feel the desire to be far away, that too is motivated by perceiving things that are not quite literally there yet. That putting two and two together. And this is very, very positive, and all of this is positive, but this is very hopeful, in which information, especially about people and situations, but people and specifically, opens up your relationships with them. So information about them comes to you, or across, like you're just going to see information about them, you know? You are going to see, how do you say this? You see them on a deeper level. And so therefore, or how do I say this? Some important information about a person or a situation is going to come across, or when you're around them or something, it's not someone actually telling you that about them. It synchronistically seems to happen at a time when you're present, so you observe it. You see? So for example, you're dating somebody, because we're talking about the 5th house conjunction, right? You're dating someone and you're walking down the street with them, and a homeless person happens to be asking for like an extreme favor, and that person just generously, without even paying attention to you, goes and helps that person. And you're like, you see a quality about them. The knowledge and the information comes in, and it opens your perspective about things. Like fortunate timing. It's not them telling you, oh yeah, I love to help the homeless, I'm such a kind person, blah, blah, blah. It's being in the present state of receiving knowledge or receiving information and having that epiphany or awareness point. Very cool energy. So it's like good, and this is going to continue for the rest of your life. This is, I feel, like a gem for you. Write that down and remember it, because I think you're going to have these spontaneous moments of illumination. Very, very nice. Okay. And then we have delight. Delight. Groove is in the heart, right? Delight. So this is for far away. Some of you may not be able to travel far for whatever reasons, but I think that maybe you may not be able to relocate, but you will choose to travel. Sorry, that's what I was intending to say. So there's this, you'll find alternative ways, and travel is your friend. Being far away or taking a break from situations, you get stimulation, like overload. You get too much information in certain environments. So if you work somewhere and you live in a small town, you work in a small town, it's all the same. The pressure builds, and the way to decompress it is just to get out of there for a minute. I don't remember if I did this. I think I did this as the second one, so we'll honor that. So we have purification. So purification through knowledge and information. I love this for you. I think this is going to be very good. It's just, and pay attention to what you observe about people. Remember, water sign, this transit is all about relationships. Okay. So they kind of go together, whether you're a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer. Maybe you're a mix of both. So we have surrender here. Danger path, surrender to your feelings, and danger, I feel like the honoring, this is perilous. And again, the stress of this energy is, if I were to say what's dangerous about it, you'll say, I don't really know yet. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like paranoia. For someone who doesn't believe in intuition and things, they may call it paranoia, but I think that it's kind of like instinct. So trust your instinct. surrender to the path. When you sense danger, some of it entails sacrifice, meaning things are going well for you in one direction, but then you sense that danger and you have to sacrifice the things you're doing because you know you need to get out of there. You need to choose a better path. So that's your energy. Okay. So now let's talk about the astrology a bit, and then we're going to do a house by house reading for your each house of the zodiac. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna okay, so now let's see Scorpio energies for the conjunction. So the conjunction is happening in your 5th house. That's romance. So this is very related to relationships, romance, feelings for others. This is a bit of a miracle. So where there is none, where there is desert, there may be an oasis. So there you go, 5th house. Venus is in your 5th house. That's very good for love. And she's exalted in Pisces. So of course it's very beautiful. Mars is also moving into Pisces. Mars will move into Pisces this week on Wednesday. So I think it's Wednesday. So moving forward, you might actually see a pickup in things. Whatever's happening for you at this time of a romantic nature, Scorpio, go with it. Go with your impressions, go with your experiences, go with the things that are happening. If somebody's, saying you should do this or we should try this or asking you out, you should go for it. You should be trying that. It's happening at a time that's kind of your ugly phase. I'm not saying you're ugly, but I'm saying the South Node is going through Scorpio. And when the South Node or Chiron is in the 1st house or Saturn or something, that's a lot of introspection that we go through as individuals. So the South Node, it's like your release point. And it's kind of like cleaning your life out sort of thing of the past time. And so with the South Node there, it might be awkward. You may not be feeling like going out on a date, but because you're going through personal things. But I think that this is the time in which you should in some way. Also, the other thing is financial things around the house and relationship things might be coming into conflict. And so let's differentiate. This is more romantic. Let's go have fun. This is your partnership and serious stuff, business matters. And so at this time that you might be under financial pressure with regard to things to do with the house, with your house or decorating or whatever else, or your family. And they could be stressful. So you may feel as though this is not the right time. This is not the right energy. But as I said in a previous part of this video, Neptune supersedes it. So does Jupiter. And so both things are valid, and you still have to address the financial turmoil or the financial challenges that you're facing. But at the same time, you have to, this is a cycle that's coming in, and you want to kind of get it as soon as possible, as fresh as the energy is, which means don't turn down dates because you're stressed out because family things are difficult or work things are coming into conflict with house things. Go and give yourself a chance or a shot in this energy. Okay. So that's what I'll say about that. That's the pep talk. Okay, so now let's take a look at house by house. This is wild. The hummingbird has come up and said hello. So, okay, so we have 1st house first. So this is the South Node. And I'm reading for the conjunction with Neptune and Jupiter. Okay, so 1st house, Scorpio. So first of all, big release for you. We have the Tower. Let's see what else comes up. And then we have the Ace of Swords. A lot of things are changing for you on a personal level that you will say something about later. So it's, some people may not know you for where things are going, and some friends may not like you yet because you've already changed on the inside, but they don't know that yet, if that makes sense. So there's a part of you that's still emerging from underneath whatever guck the South Node is clearing out. And so it may not be apparent to everybody yet who you've become. So just be patient with friends and those types of things. Let's see the next energy. We see grace. So this is grace. Okay. So just be patient with as things happen. There is some ugly moments, and have a little humor, have a little grace for it. Ugly moments means you're like a bad version of yourself through things, and you might be hitting snags here and there, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Forgive yourself and don't beat yourself up about it, and reconcile it. If you've embarrassed yourself in front of someone or some people, then just say it to them. Just say, I was having a bad day, or I was having a weird moment, whatever. So take it on the chin and don't internalize. Just, roll with it, and good friendships emerge. People like seeing people, like normal. Like when people, does that make sense? Like people like seeing people not perfect, or whatever. We hate when people see us mess up. Many people do. But actually that is an endearing aspect from other people. Other people care. They like when we're being weird. That makes us human to them. We hate it, they love it. So it's better than you think. Second house, okay? So we're talking about the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction in the 5th house, but through the 2nd house, how it's applying to that 2nd house. That's not the easiest combination. It's a square. So some of the requirements for your personal relationships will be at odds with your money. Simple. And you need to prioritize your relationships when looking through it at Jupiter. Here, I'm going to make it brighter. I'm losing light fast, so I'm sorry about that. But hopefully this will get us through to the end. So let's see. So we have Ace of Pentacles, and then we have so you're giving money in hopes, or reaching out to others financially with hopes and friendship. That's nice. So all this is saying, because it's a square, is it feels as though like there's giving people a good chance, Ace of Pentacles, or reaching out to others, but just be careful of overextending yourself financially, right? Or, being too, not naive, but too wishful in your thinking towards others. But it's saying pretty good friendships arise out of it. So you should be that way. You should be open to other people financially. And then we have the strength energy. Test the strength of your friendships. Money tests the strengths of your friendship. Money tests the strength of people's genuine feelings towards you. All of that energy. Okay. Now let's see the 3rd house. And in the 3rd house, we're talking about kind of your neighborhood. Okay. Neighborhood. Let's see. We have the 7 of Cups in the 3rd house. Okay. 7 of Cups. Yeah, I just feel like your immediate environment, you're scanning it. Like, is it a good place? Are the people good? This could be the place that you live. It could be literally your street, but it can be your town or wherever, your block. And then you have the Hierophant. Somebody might be moving in from the past, so that will make it feel better. There's a sense of maybe the people around are just not your type of people. It doesn't feel dramatic, but it does not feel perfect. Like, I think that'll make you appreciate the good people, or not the good people, like the people that you are close with in your life. It's like a different mindset. People are on a different page than you, and that's okay. Let's see the next energy. We have Synthesis. Okay, Synthesis. So you have to allow that process to work its way through. I sense that some of you might be experiencing a bout of loneliness because the people around you can't relate to. So like people in your town or just not your flow or whatever. And that covertly over a long period of time is pushing you in the right direction. So it has a place and a reason. And for some of you, things might change when someone who you feel really close with from the past shows up in close to where you are, and you'll have a friend. So someone who you already know may become more around. And so therefore, it'll make your feelings towards your community feel better. Now the fourth house. Now that's a square between Saturn squaring the nodes. And so fourth house is house and home. This is where a point of tension is going on. And that's separate from Neptune and Jupiter. But yet it's still kind of happening at the same time. So it's affecting it. But what this is pointing to in the fourth house in relation to the Neptune-Jupiter conjunction is that in some way, it feels like, okay, I'll tell you guys what I'm picking up on, and maybe this applies to your situation. But I think that there's hard decisions about moving or changing homes are at play. Some of you are experiencing tension between the changes you want to make and your relationship with your partner. So your partner wants something else than you do. And some of you have very determinate things about your house and home and business. And this is especially true for this Neptune energy. And that comes into conflict with your love life or your romantic choices. So you're going to have to maneuver and figure out how to make both of them work. It's not about choosing one or the other. It's about figuring out how to make space. Like if you have, let's say, because in Canada, the price of homes went through the roof. So if you have, you're working your ass off to pay off your mortgage or whatever else, and it's consuming your entire life, and it's over influencing your romantic situations. It's not about not dating. It's about figuring out how to do both in this very difficult moment. The silver lining is that Saturn is going to move out of Aquarius soon, within like a year. So it's on its way out. It's the most tension you'll experience with regard to time and having time management and competition of interest between your personal life and your home life is going to be feeling that way right now. So in other words, bear it, grit it, pull it through, and then it'll work itself out later. Let's see the next energy. We have the Strength card, which is Leo. And then we have the Fool, which is Uranus. And then we have, so we're talking about the fourth house, High Priestess. Because of the depth of, sorry, I got disconnected, but we're back on. What I was saying was, whatever difficulties in your life of trying to, how do you say this, of make a relationship happen in your life or whatever, you're going to fall so deeply in love with someone that those difficulties are going to fall away because it's going to supersede it, and it's going to make you make some changes that you wouldn't make otherwise. And I think that there's going to be a very intuitive aspect to that, so you don't have to worry about who, what, when, where, why, because when it's happening, it's just going to happen. Okay? The next energy, we have the Beauty. And I don't mean physical beauty. I don't think this is what it means. I think you're just going to be riveted by someone's appearance or energy. And I think that, yeah, it's going to change things for you, but not necessarily immediately. And when you're with that person, it's just going to make it so, all the calculations of making things work are going to be, how do you say this? All the calculations of making it work are going to be it's very hard to to make it work right now, but when that person's a factor, it's going to be easy. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the 5th house. That's the romance. So we're working our way up to it. This is where the Jupiter and Neptune are joining in the 5th house. So we have complete change. Something's really challenging you, Scorpio. There's a real challenge. And what I mean is, how do you say, like, there's a challenge to your status quo. There's a threat. You need to go away. There's a danger. And what the danger that I'm picking up, this is from before in your reading. I think that what that was all about was you're protecting what you love and you feel imminent shift in the danger, but the danger is essentially this new shift, new paradigm that you're stepping into because of love and because of a relationship. And I think it's uncanny, which means I don't think that like you logically are like, oh, that's a good choice. I think that when it happens, it's just going to be very clear for you that that's what needs to happen. It's going to be very, very visceral, which is the wands, the Ace of Wands. You're just going to feel it from your heart. So you have the King of Pentacles. It'll become very, very clear, very strong beginning, very strong, like very just clear from the beginning that this feels right. For all of you who have been looking for a partner and there's been like question marks or like maybes or I don't know how I feel about this. I think that this is going to be very like, it's not like love bombing. It's going to be like you meet this person and they're going to be very cool. They're going to be very like, this person makes sense. So I think that you're about to see some changes with regard to love and romance and acceptance. Do you see? So something's going to make a lot of, again, on an intuitive level, something's going to be very clear. Okay. So now we're going to move into the 6th house in relation to this new beginning, friendships or whatever. There's the hummingbird again. So this is, okay, let's see. So we have 3 of Swords. You're going to be letting go of things you never thought you would have to. And then we have Justice. Some things that were probably hurtful to you, and Magician, you're going to pull the plug on. There's things in your life that you accept, that you welcome in, experiences, situations, and people, that your personal relationships, your love life is going to prompt you to have to change. But these things are not, I don't know why you have them in your life anyway. So it's kind of interesting that it's a relationship that pulls you out of it. It's more like when people say, oh, this person, this good opportunity, this job or school pulled this person out of a bad relationship. This is the opposite. This is the good relationship pulls someone out of a series of experiences, life situations that are causing difficulties in the day-to-day. For whatever reason, there's a shift on behalf of someone. Okay? Very, very exciting. And truth. The truth about, and it's like the things that you do that you think there's no problem with, but when you meet them and when you go in this new direction, I just feel like it's going to be clear, like, why was I accepting this? Why was I going in this direction? Okay? So now let's see for the 7th house, for the partnership. And this is in relation to Neptune and Jupiter. So 7th house is more the partnership. This is where your North Node is this year. And this is where Mercury's just entered. Mercury will go retrograde in Gemini and then retrograde back into your 7th house in about a month or three weeks or so. So that's going to be pretty big moment for you in terms of endings and going back into a partnership, or, you know, working things out or through with your partner, or finalizing the end of a relationship if that's what it's supposed to be. Lots of big things coming up in the next month. There's also an eclipse at the end of the month that's happening right in your 7th house, which is going to begin a huge relationship pattern, but we'll talk about that separately. So you have the 2 of Pentacles, Scorpio, you know, putting things together. Some of you are overextending yourselves into partnerships that you're in. And if you're overextending yourself into a partnership in which you're in, which means that you're doing everything on behalf of them, they're not putting in as much energy. I think that that's going to really fracture. Let's see, 7th house, 3 of Swords. I really sense some of you guys are putting in a lot of effort to make things work, and it's getting pretty heavy and difficult. So this whole pattern of, whether it's for work or romance, because the 7th house can be both, in relationships in which you're doing a lot for someone else who's not reciprocating in terms of effort, not necessarily in terms of, you know, how much they have, how much you have, because as adults, we choose to make relationships work, and you will never find that perfect balance. It's about effort, how much they're willing to put in effort to combine and make it work. And so what was I saying? Oh, yes. So it feels very like you're run off your feet on behalf of someone else. And I think that maybe you're releasing that pattern of doing things for other people to make that partnership work. So that's good. And that could be in the form of letting go of a relationship or welcoming in a better relationship moving forward. And then you have gratitude. But also, yeah, that's such a problem, because, like, do you do things so that other people, this is something I get stuck on myself, gratitude, which means that, like, do you do things for other people for the recognition, or do you just do it because that's what you do, that's what makes sense? So when other people don't reciprocate, it's like, where do you draw the boundary? That's the difficulty. It's like when other people don't reciprocate in terms of effort, where do you draw the boundary and say, well, you know, I'm grateful, but I actually at the same time, like they're taking advantage, right? So I do sense that some of you are frazzled, have a pattern of compensating in partnerships. People get comfortable in a relationship with you, and they're like sucker, like here comes the sucker. And so the question is, it's not about like being recognized for your effort, but also at the same, and being grateful for having the opportunity to give, but also at the same time not being taken advantage of, if that makes sense. Okay. And then we have the 8th house. I'm hurrying up because it's getting dark and I'm worried. I want to make sure I can't make this go any brighter. So I want to get this to you guys. So 8th house is a tension energy for the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in the 5th house. And so this means that, like, dropping things, giving up on things, shifting things around for your sign is very important at this time. So like quitting a job, letting go of bad situations, Knight of Pentacles, towards goals and ambitions. And then we have 7 of Cups, not being really sure where you're going to go or how it's going to play out. You have to sacrifice one thing for relationships. And there's a big unknown ahead. Trust me, it's going to work out. And if you need to take a risk, this is a good time, especially for a relationship. This is a good time to do it. Let's see, Oracle card. Abundance. Yeah, so there's a lot coming to you. And don't be brave. Be brave and take your risks and take your chances. So that's the 9th house. So this is where we were saying you're bound to Pluto in the 3rd house, which means like you're kind of stuck to home a lot at this time. But that's going to really shift when Pluto leaves the 3rd house there's going to be much more opportunity to go abroad or go far away or something like that. So some of your dreams might be coming into reality over the next couple years. The Ace of Swords, a new beginning. And then you have the Four of Wands. I feel as though on the horizon there's great opportunities to buy a home, but not yet. It's saying not yet. That Pluto energy's got you bound. There's something close to home that kind of prevents growth and travel at this time. So for the next year or so, you might be doing things close to home before you can actually get to where you're going. But set your intentions, which means, like, let's say you want to move to Germany, right? But you don't speak German. And maybe you can't move to Germany right now. So maybe you need to go and study German wherever you're at. And then in a couple years, you'll move to Germany and you speak German already. So get your ducks in a row now. Even if you can't get to where you want to go yet. That was the initial cards. I'm forgetting because I did so much today. But what was it? Far away, right? Far away, desiring far away. So there was some kind of blockage to being far away. Well, that I've kind of figured out that the blockage is Pluto. And so once Pluto moves off of your IC, moves past it, you'll have some kind of event, major life event. And then you will be able to get to where you desire to go. That's so we know a timeline now. 2024, 2025. Okay, so now let's look at the 10th house. I'm going to go really fast because I'm losing light really quick. So we have the 10 of Pentacles. You have established relationships and friends, okay, that get you places. Ace of Wands. It's through those friends that you're going to have opportunities in terms of career. And then we have the Strength card. Don't waste your relationships. You have very strong allies and friends. Honor them and cherish them and do right by them because they are a huge part to your success in the future. Job opportunities, enthusiasm, match their enthusiasm towards you. So if they're very excited, they say, hey, Scorpio, come live in Germany, come live in Berlin with me. I really want you here. Don't pass on that. Be like, yes, I want to live in Germany. Yes, I'll be your roommate, or, thanks for showing me around, or whatever it is. These relationships are your key. Whoever is asking you to come, whoever is asking you to go wherever, just match their enthusiasm towards you. It's a gift. It's a gift based on the good relationship you have with them. 11th house. Okay, so let's rock and roll. This is the opposite house to this conjunction, so that's interesting. Let's see how it plays out. Okay, so we have the Page of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. Why am I always filming when it's getting dark? Why can't it's like nice and bright till 8? That's okay. Scorpio energy, you guys can handle it. 6 of Swords. And I know it says Wands, it's my mistake. And then we have the Knight of Wands. Okay, so I feel as though there's a friend who's supposed to get you going on some type of journey. A friend will get you finally to move or go when the time is right. And I feel like you have someone new coming in with a lot of spunk and energy. There's someone who is encouraging you or facilitating for you to go somewhere else. And then there's someone who's coming into your life. You may already know this person who's going to bring in new energy into your current situations. Okay, but it's sort of detracting from your love life because it's opposite to the 5th house where this conjunction is. So it feels like confusion, and it feels like minor things. It feels like minor aspects. Okay, and then we have responsibility. When they say, will you know this person 5 years from now? With your decisions with regard to friends, especially if it's affecting other aspects of your life, ask yourself, will I know this person 5 years from now? And that will tell you how you are meant to relate to them and their energy. Last house, last reading for today, we have the 12th house for Scorpio in relation to the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. Let's see what's going on. So we have the Hierophant. Profound connections with people are your driving force. Profound community. There's people who are, you know, you're meant to be connected with. You're meant to initiate, but the initiation won't happen. You can't outthink it. It's going to happen when it happens. And when it happens, it's going to feel right. And you're not going to have questions. This is so cool. When I read for Cancer, the first reading I did, the last card was the Chariot, which is the card of Cancer. Well, Judgment is ruled by Pluto, which is your ruler. So this is essentially your card. You're going to really make some huge decisions, but don't worry about them yet. I think you're working your way up to it now. I think it's probably going to be after the South Node moves out of Scorpio, because you have to get through some things first. So your last card, oh, you get the card Blanche. So you get to choose whatever you want. So go learn your German, go do whatever. Figure out what you want, figure out who you want to be, and go for it, and be patient because it's coming your way. Okay? You guys, thank you so much for watching this. If you're not a water sign, I might modify this because this is crazy long, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back more. The conjunction is on the 12th, so we have a couple days.